Well, it's never too soon to start talking about the next presidential election, especially when the likely candidates are already busy laying the groundwork for their runs. So to bring you up to speed, in the past week, we learned that Congressman Paul Ryan is out, Mitt Romney might get in again, and Scott Walker is all but in, given his prominent speaking role Thursday at the Republican National Committee winter meeting in San Diego. So we're turning now to ABC's political director, Rick Klein, in Washington. Rick, thanks very much for being with us, and let's begin with Scott Walker. He has been sidestepping the question for some time about whether or not he'll run, but he certainly is looking and sounding like a candidate. Is Scott Walker in this race?
He is going to be in. I talked to a prominent fundraiser of his who says it's 100% full steam ahead. Couldn't imagine anything that keeps him out of it. The only question really is the timing. What does he have to do now taking office after the second inauguration? Does he need to kind of do some things back in Wisconsin before he goes national? But yes, I think the speech at the RNC, another indication, and there's no question that he's in. And he may be, I mean, I'd put him in as a first-tier candidate pretty quickly as well. And I'll tell you, even though it's a very crowded field, when you talk about Mitt Romney, when you talk about Jeb Bush, you talk about Chris Christie, you talk about a whole mess of Tea Partiers and conservatives that are also coming into this race, I think Scott Walker could potentially fill a sweet spot in this race. And I think Walker's people are confident, and I think he has a reason to be confident that the message that he has taken to great effect in Wisconsin could go national.
Let's talk about that message and how it plays outside of Wisconsin. He's positioning himself as a fresh face, as a Washington outsider. How does that play?
Look, he's a half a generation younger than some of the other candidates. I mean, if you talk about a Mitt Romney and you talk about a Jeb Bush, he isn't as well known nationally, although he is well known in conservative circles owing to the recall and all of the outside groups and money that was spent there. He is known by the prominent organizations that would potentially support a candidate. So I think that gives him a natural fundraising base. I think there's things in his biography. I think the fact that he didn't complete college is something that's interesting and kind of sets him apart, maybe in a negative way, maybe in a positive way, depending on how he it and how he talks about it. And I think mostly it's the governing record. The fact that he's able to say that he went into Wisconsin, got some things done with the budget, got elected 3 times inside of 4 years in what is essentially a blue state, maybe a purplish to blue state. All of that is incredibly strong as an opening gambit when you start showing up in the living rooms of likely voters in Iowa and New Hampshire.
And Governor Walker has addressed Jeb Bush's candidacy, but now he's being asked about Mitt Romney. He says it's time for something new. What's the Romney effect? How does it impact a Walker candidacy?
Romney is going to suck up a whole lot of money. He had an enormous fundraising base, obviously the biggest one in the history of Republican politics. He raised more money than anyone else last time around. So he is going to be a draw for some folks, but not everybody. There's going to be a big group of his fundraisers that are open for business. Jeb Bush is trying to poach the same people. Chris Christie will be trying to get them. Scott Walker will to some extent as well. But I don't view Scott Walker as a pure establishment candidate the same way. I kind of think of the big 3, Christie, Romney, and Bush, as the folks who are competing for the really big money out there. I think Scott Walker has the potential to appeal to those folks, but not necessarily be dependent on that same group of financiers. Recent history has shown you don't have to have that many rich people behind you to be able to bankroll a run. You just need really one willing billionaire, and you can last for a while. So I don't think Scott Walker has to fish in the same exact pond, but I do think he'll be impacted, as will everyone else. There's only so many people that can write those enormous checks. Some of them are going to go to Mitt Romney, some of them are going to go to Jeb Bush, some of them are going to go to Chris Christie, but I think a not insignificant number of those folks are going to be intrigued by what Scott Walker has to offer.
And on the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton's sort of kept a low profile recently. Do you anticipate any challenge within the party, and if so, from who?
Any challenge, yes. Serious challenge, no. I think Hillary Clinton has as clear a path to the nomination as any non-incumbent, non-vice president has had in any recent history.
ABC's political director, Rick Klein in Washington, thanks very much for taking a few minutes with us today. We appreciate it.
Great to be here. Thank you.
And tell us who you think is the leading candidate for president in 2016, Republican or Democrat, by liking and sharing up front on Facebook. Next, the pipeline almost no one is talking about. It could be bigger than Keystone XL, and it runs right through the heart of Wisconsin.